Hey, what's up, guys? So, in this video, I want to tell you about the one thing about prison that is far better than the free world. So, that statement in itself may confuse a lot of you. A lot of you may be thinking there can't be anything better in prison than the free world. Others of you may be thinking along the lines of, not having to worry about bills or, paying for food or medical insurance, things like that. There are a couple other small things that are good. For example, for drug addicts, going to jail and detoxing is a good thing for them. It gives them a chance to clean up and get healthy again. But that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is manners, okay? So you would be so amazed, for those of you who have not been in prison, especially prison where you're in with serious offenders, you're in with murderers, you're in with lifers, especially in those places, okay? The level of respect and manners would blow your mind away. You would never believe it, especially when you compare it to the free world. That was one of the more difficult things for me to change when I came out of prison. The acceptance of behavior of others, and specifically manners and lack of. So when you're in prison, people are extremely, extremely aware of respect and whether or not anything that they say or do, even a look in itself, can be misconstrued as disrespectful to another person. Okay? If you bump into somebody in prison, you apologize and you say, "Excuse me." If you even look at someone the wrong way, and for whatever reason, eye contact is made and held for a second or something, someone can take that as insulting. So even that, you could excuse yourself and say, I wasn't looking, I didn't mean any offense. Depending on who you are. But this rule of manners applies to everybody. No matter who you are. You could be the most dangerous person in the fucking prison. It doesn't matter. Because anybody can get hit in prison. Anybody. Okay? You're in that place and you have to assume the mindset of these people that you're living with, especially the ones that are lifers. These are guys that are never ever going home, ever. They don't give a fuck about killing you, killing your family, nobody, because they're not going home. Now that's not to say that because people are lifers, they're animals and they're not civil. It's actually the opposite. For the most part, the people who I met and spent time with who were doing the most amount of time, the longest sentences, often were the kindest people, the more respectful people, the more educated people, and the more civil people. Because these guys have been in there for so long already, 20 years, 30 years. They're not trying to be about any of this young bullshit, running, fighting, over stupid shit. But the respect thing is, again, everywhere you go, you will respect others. You will be polite. You will have manners. Because if you don't, you're going to get your fucking ass beat. Or you're going to get your ass stabbed. You're going to be fucking cut. You'll be killed, depending on where you are. And when I came out of prison, I couldn't believe, after having gotten used to that and being that way, that people out here in the free world, they're just so disrespectful. So disrespectful. People bumping into each other and not even saying anything. This happened to me just maybe a couple months ago. We were all at a furniture store buying some furniture, and somebody bumped into my girlfriend. She's no longer my girlfriend, but my girlfriend of the time. She was walking ahead of me a little bit. A guy bumped into her and didn't even say anything. He just looked at her and walked away. And I went and got that guy. And I tapped him on his shoulder and told him, I said, you just bumped into my girl. He didn't know what to do. He looked around and I said, yeah, her. You just bumped into her. And you said nothing. What the fuck is wrong with you? I said, you need to fucking apologize to her right now and fucking hope that she forgives you. Because if she doesn't, you're going to have a big fucking problem. And I called her over and he apologized. I wasn't happy with the way the apology went. I said, you need to apologize better than that. And he did. And I said, are you okay with this apology? And she said, yes. Just a small example. What kind of person does that? Bumps into a female especially and just keeps moving. That won't happen in prison. That would never happen in prison. I'm telling you. Unless you bump into somebody who's a punk and has no respect, nothing at all, maybe you can get away with it. Or if you're a bully and you're picking on somebody weaker. But for the most part, in those high security type places especially, you're not getting away with that. You're not disrespecting that person like that. That bump in itself is enough to kill. Because all we have in there is respect. That's all we have. You're not going to fucking bump into me and not say anything. You're not going to fucking walk away without apologizing. No fucking way. Impossible. And those manners apply everywhere. Even as we eat together. If you're in a situation where there is an environment where you can sit down and eat with others. Table manners. They have them in prison. Out here, people don't. Out here, people reach over other people's food and shit. You don't do that in prison. You never do that. Ever. It's such disrespect to do that. Even to get up and walk away. A lot of times, you have to excuse yourself. You excuse yourself before walking away. If you see someone on the phone, you don't make a lot of noise next to where he's standing. It's disrespectful. You know, places I was, people knew I slept in. I skipped breakfast. I slept in till a certain time. Out of respect, they didn't make a lot of noise or put the TV loud around where I was. Out of respect. So there's so many things that people in prison are much, much better behaved in when it comes to manners than the people out here in free society. These are the savages out here. They're the ones. And it's one thing I wish I could change about the free world. I wish I could make the people in the free world be as respectful as the people are in prison. And the reason they're not is because they have zero fear of consequence. And that's the government's fault. It's the government's fault for fucking babying everybody and putting laws in place where people are not allowed to maintain and keep their own honor and respect, even if it means having to physically hurt somebody. I believe sometimes there are occasions where physically hurting someone makes sense and is a good thing for them. For them. That guy who bumped into my ex-girlfriend, that day, I can guarantee you, he'll change his behavior. He learned his lesson because he saw in me that day that if he didn't apologize, I was going to fucking hurt him. And it may be stupid on my part, but I take it as very serious and extremely disrespectful. And he did that, I think, because he didn't know she and I were together. She was walking ahead a little bit. Now, whether a female is by herself or not, we should always be respectful. Always. Right? People out here also, in the way they speak, I see disrespect. I hear people cursing. I curse. Okay? I have a lot of flaws. A lot of you maybe don't like the way I speak because of the curse words I use. I don't intentionally do it. But I can guarantee you one thing. If I'm ever around women or children, you will never hear a curse word come out of my mouth. Ever. Because of respect. You just don't do that. You do not do that. So this is probably the one and maybe only example of something that is much, much better in prison than in the free world. So I'm interested in your guys' thoughts and comments. Please leave feedback and comments if you have any. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.